welcome, Leah. Thank you for agreeing to come to this little interview for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for asking. I
Yes.
appreciate it.
Anywho, so pretty much this is my streaming for charity event. We're raising a $200 scholarship for the next Praxian, hopefully. And so I just kind of wanted to talk with you and ask kind of what your experience was with Praxis. Let's start off kind of where you started off at before you joined Praxis. Kind of what was your reasoning for becoming into Praxis? You want to start there?
Yeah, it kind of comes from a lot of not super straightforward, but I had mostly a background in food service and coffee industry. Used that as a support for my full-time work as a theater artist, as an actor. So I did all of that at once and did an associate's degree at the same time. And then as soon as I was ready to move on to a 4-year, Praxis was recommended to me by people who had seen it in the news, and they were like, oh, this could be a cool option, just eyeing how much a BFA degree costs, and being like, well, this could be an option for you. So I applied in October of 2017 and was accepted pretty right away. Grammar.
Nice.
But I also wanted to do the traditional 4-year audition round. So I did a whole bunch of auditions for different 4 years. But the way that kind of shook out, it was not financially doable, especially if you are leaving a 4-year with that massive amount of debt into an arts career that is not going to pay off that debt pretty easily. So it's kind of like shooting yourself in the foot a little bit. So,
right.
The thought behind Praxis was to try and find a way to sustainably both pursue acting and build up my career, but also be able to support myself. And a lot of the hubs that you have to be in to build an acting career kind of looks like LA or New York, which are pretty high cost.
Oh, yes.
Areas. Yeah. So it kind of had to be something that made both of those areas pretty feasible for me. So.
Nice. I actually was in acting for a while when I was growing up as well.
That's awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
What were some of the things that you did?
So I was a child actor. So I got started in acting when I was 14-ish, 14, 16. I got to be in a movie called Matt's Chance as like the son of a mobster.
Whoa.
Yeah. So it was technically I'll tell you this story. So I was the son of a mobster and it was my birthday. And my job for the movie was I was given a baseball bat and I was to beat up the main character with the baseball bat. That's essentially what I did. And
amazing. You don't have an Oscar for this yet?
I don't have an Oscar yet. They told me it's coming, but I don't know when I'm gonna actually see it. I do have a trophy in my room for like getting like best in picture or something like that. I don't remember what it was called.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go.
Yes. I know. Off topic.
Not at all. Not at all.
All right, that's cool. That's kind of cool. So, what was kind of your focus when you started going through Praxis? A lot of folks, it's marketing, it's the sales and operations. What were you kind of focusing on throughout the apprenticeship portion of it, or the educational portion, I should say?
Yeah. So because I hadn't really thought about business industry, I didn't really have a specific field that I was looking at, and was pretty clueless to all of it right when I started Praxis. So I didn't really have anything picked out. I knew I liked working with people a lot. I like orchestrating situations. So originally was looking at operations, but then slowly as people running Praxis got to know me and learned about my background in both theater and acting and like food service. They kind of like forced my path towards sales. And then I started looking more at inside sale roles versus outbound because I think I can have much more natural conversations through inbound versus outbound.
Right.
But yeah, that came from a lot of outside opinion of like what I'd be good at and what I would actually, thrive in. So.
Right. And you kind of need that sometimes to kind of get an idea. Sometimes you just don't know yourself as well as you think you do. And sometimes people mention these type of things that are very informal like that. So that's pretty cool.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. And I think it was almost helpful going in that way, because I didn't have one specific goal that I was looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly just looking for an experience that fit well with who I was and what I could actually help a team out with and be good at
Okay.
and excel at. So I think it was kind of helpful to go in like with a pretty open mind and little expectation as well.
Nice. I like that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So after you kind of did the curriculum, what where for the apprenticeship portion, where did you end up going? Did you go up with a certain company, one of the startups? Where did you end up doing in that regard?
Yeah, so it came through as a pretty fluke opportunity because they weren't originally a part of the business partner network. So
Mm-hmm.
I had my apprenticeship with Impossible Foods, and I'm still with them now.
Okay.
So they are the plant-based meat company, but they kind of work at a cross section between food and science, which is amazing, because suddenly found myself in an office that was both an office but then had a lab in the center of it, and I think that was amazing because I'm just a naturally curious person, and so science always interests me even though I'm not very good at it
Mm-hmm.
study wise. So it's a pretty interesting career and field to be in, and super fun company to be with as well.
That's really cool. I actually signed up to try and get in with Impossible Foods way back when I was going through my apprenticeship portion, trying to get into that. I thought that
Yeah.
was really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it was amazing because it came through just randomly into our Slack channel. They were just like, if you are interested in plant-based eating, if you're okay at sales, but like love communication, and have some experience in food service, this might be something you're interested in, which was really weird because that was a pretty spot on role and I had a lot of applicable experience. And
Yeah.
so I just went for it. And it was it was cool to just be able to enter a job application knowing like sort of the field that I'd be working in, knew how things operated on the ground level before going into like a sales role for it.
Nice. That's really cool. Okay. And so you're still going through. You've already finished up your affiliate as of right now, or affiliate alumni, I should say.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm nervous as heck, and I'm the one who's interviewing. What the heck?
That's okay. That's
Yeah.
okay. Same.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm completed out with Praxis. I finished last December, so almost out a year.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's been good. It's been great. Yeah, still with Impossible and
Okay.
just keep growing, which is
So
awesome.
so what? I don't remember exactly where Impossible is. What side of the states did you end up moving to?
Yeah, so I ended up moving to San Francisco, California, which was
Okay.
a big switch. I'd always lived in cities my whole life, so I was pretty used to that experience, but it is pretty tough to both afford housing out there and like logistics, and it's a very interesting place to live. Some people love it, but I find that a lot of people who love it are the people who grew up there and have roots there and just love the city wholeheartedly. And so, yeah, being dropped into that city was a definite learning experience.
Oh yeah, I
And
bet.
yeah, super wild. But yeah, I learned so much, even just outside of the job. Like, I mean, I'd go to work during the day and then I'd get home in the evening and have to deal with a whole bunch of other stuff as well. So, yeah, pretty cool. But it's cool to get to know a new city as well.
Yeah, it's always cool to kind of get that first move out from the family's house and get on your own for a bit. I sadly am still living with my family because COVID, and I got a remote job with Stupid Raisins. So,
Oh,
hey,
yeah.
it's cool.
Hey, there you go. Slowly but surely. Yeah, it's put a lot of people on hold. And I know so many people working from their homes, or, they had plans originally or trying to make different moves happen. And yeah, it's just rewired a lot of people. So I totally feel for you.
Yeah, I'm excited though because I'm thinking maybe I should move to Austin, Texas eventually. I thinking about it. Might be a good
Good
move.
out there.
Yeah.
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 I mean, that'd be pretty cool. What's in Austin, Texas for you that you look at and are drawn to?
For me, it's kind of been looking at the idea that there's more businesses down there. It's kind of that startup, new kind of the new startup area, and that's where all the work and all the jobs are going. So I don't know, maybe in the future that might be a good area for me personally to go to and kind of connect with more entrepreneurs or more business focused people, because I personally live out in Washington State near Seattle, and
Wow.
it rains a lot. That's
Yes.
what I'll say.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
But you
Yeah.
don't really have that many people who are like entrepreneurial. There's not very many of those type of groups around here. It's more of I don't know, I guess liberal. I don't know what the word is for it, but it's a lot different from what other states are, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little
Yeah,
bit
there are a lot
harder.
of new entrepreneurship hubs like popping up. I know that there are some programs that will just like pay people to move to
Hmm.
cities to just work startups and build up that
Hmm.
industry in different cities. So I think it's kind of on the rise. So
Nice.
yeah.
So for you, what's kind of like the future plan as of right now? Are you just saving up? What do you have like some cool goal in mind? Are you working on any projects? What's going on? What's going on with life these days?
Yeah, so like everyone else, COVID definitely took me on a ride this year.
I bet.
Um, so a lot of the plans that I had originally mapped out either fell through or
Mhm.
were postponed. So yeah, so luckily I've had Impossible with me the whole time, which is great. Super grateful to have that job right now. But yeah, right now I just I'm taking a lot of classes because theater isn't really a thing right now. It's a completely shut down industry
Hmm.
almost. There's some work happening, but in pretty small
Right.
quantities. Film industry is kind of still happening, but it takes a second to work your way in there. But I did just move to New York in August.
Hmm.
So that's been really great and has been another step towards building up that side of my career as well. So right now I just work with Impossible remotely in New
Okay.
York and kind of explore the city, which is kind of nice because, um, if I had gone to New York, um, and moved there in a normal state
Hmm.
without COVID being a thing, I'd be plunged directly into the city, and it'd be a
Yes.
lot to get used to, which is great because like people are doing that all the time.
Hmm.
But this time has been really nice because I kind of just like go out and do my own thing, and it's slower than it normally would be. So
Hmm.
it's a pretty similar pace to something like Chicago, and um, yeah, super manageable, and it's been a lot of fun getting to know the city.
That's really cool. I almost ended up moving out to New York City, same term during the same time that right around when COVID was kind of coming into town, and buildings were getting locked down. I was interviewing with a company, I forget the name at the time, that was located out in New York, and I would have eventually moved out to New York during COVID. So I'm lucky. I feel fortunate that I didn't end up there right when it started. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, I had originally planned to move out January or January to April.
Hmm.
Um, I can't
That's.
imagine that that would have just flipped my life upside down. So
Hmm.
um, yeah, timing worked out, which was really nice.
Yeah, that's really nice. That's really nice indeed. Okay,
Yeah.
cool, cool. Um, so when it comes to joining Praxis, do you have, or just Praxis in general, the apprenticeship program, do you
Mhm.
have any advice for anybody who's pretty much new, looking to jumpstart the career? What do you suggest that they kind of focus on to be in the best position possible, especially nowadays?
Yeah. So within Praxis or just like
Just
career in general?
career in general. You can do Praxis, whatever floats your boat, whatever works for you.
Yeah, I think right now COVID kind of gives you an opportunity to kind of just like have lay of the land.
Hmm.
Um, One way that's kind of helped me is like as an example, theater and film industry is pretty go 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 all the time. So you rarely have a slowdown moment
Hmm.
to actually check in, make sure this is still something you want to do, or if you're in line with your values with the kind of work that you take, or the kind of projects you take on, or the people you want to work with. Um, But with COVID, it kind of has given pause to really like think about where I'm at and who I am as a person and what kind of work I want to take on, and even like what I want to do in the future. And I think, yeah, right now is a unique time where it kind of gives you a second to recalibrate and switch the way that you've always thought. I have a lot of friends right now who they've always been like, I'm absolutely going to do this. I'm absolutely going to do this. And then now it's kind of given pause because a lot of our everyday stressors or, I mean, COVID is still an everyday stressor. Yeah. It kind of does like strip back the extra noise. And really does give you a second to really take a look at yourself and what your life is like. So that's kind of like a more human being perspective.
Right.
But I think that's super important in your work and should be something that you focus on in your work. Because if you bring your whole self to a job or a team or an opportunity, they're going to get the best version of you because that's something you can show up to as a whole human being. So yeah. I think right now is a unique time where you can actually like take a look at that and take stock of where you're at and where you want to be and kind of so that it's more in line with what you want and what you want to pursue.
Yeah, especially nowadays, mental health is probably the one thing that people need to focus on, especially.
Yeah, every day. It's like I wake up and you're like, okay, what's like,
cool, I'm still sane. Yeah.
Yeah, you go to sleep and you're like, okay, well, that was not what I thought today was going to be like. Here's hoping tomorrow is a better day, or we get somewhere else, or cool. It's wild.
Cool. All right. So I got one more question at this time. So during the boot camp portion, we have tons of projects and such during the curriculum. Did you have like a favorite project or a favorite thing that you got to do during the boot camp portion?
Yeah, so I came, for some context, I came right out of an associate's degree. So that's like just a 2-year general gen eds, no specific study. So I came from the mindset of working for grades and how can I get this professor to like what I do the most out of every student in the class, or very like grade focused and very like overachiever, which I think is an okay energy to have. But then switching from that into Praxis was just super mind blowing because I was being challenged regularly, but in a way that was me picking what I was doing and the projects I was doing, and then advisors being like, okay, like how can you take that one step further? Which in school setting, like if you were in a math class and you were like picking up a new concept, it would be like draining because they're not a math person. So you're constantly having professors be like, well, like how can you get better at that particular problem?
Here's the list of questions. This is what you got to fill out.
Exactly. And if that's not your thing, that's not going to be your thing. But with Praxis, I was able to take on a few projects that I was really passionate about and then push them to their full potential. So my favorite project was probably getting to self-publish a book, which was not something I ever thought I would do in a billion years. And I don't know what it reads like now. I haven't gone back to it since publishing it. It was mostly just to push myself to actually follow through and complete something that was super challenging and pushed me. So that was probably my favorite project, but also just building out a writing portfolio that's just widely available on my website. And now I have like over 2 years of writing just there as well, which is so valuable because then I can also like look back for myself, but also people who look at hiring me in the future or who are just interested in me as a person can kind of like see this like progression of me as a human, which I think is pretty cool.
I think that's probably also my favorite part of the Praxis experience is just building a website and then just writing every week something that you find interesting and just a blog. I personally really love the 30-day blog challenge where every day you had to come up with something that you found interesting and that you wanted to share with the world. And I thought that was awesome. I'm still doing every week. I'm putting out a blog post every week.
Wow, that's awesome. How long have you kept that up for?
I stopped for a little while at early on after like doing the initial 30-day challenge because I wanted to focus on the rest of the program first. So once I got hired with Stupid Raisins, which was about 31 weeks ago, I continued it. I know exactly when because that's when I restarted the the blog posts 31 weeks ago. So currently, I just posted today, week 31. Go read it. BryceCDWards.com.
Everyone go read it. Everyone go.
Go read the blogs, guys.
Yeah. That's awesome. So that's like, oh my gosh. So when it comes to generating ideas for those blog posts, how do you typically figure out what you're going to write about every day?
Oh, man. I'm getting interviewed. All right. I mean, yeah, this is fine. For me, oh, man, a lot of time it's just whatever I'm working on in that week, or maybe I have a frustration or a problem I'm trying to figure out, and I just, like, want to talk about it, just write about it. Because, you know what, especially right now with COVID, you don't really have anybody you can talk to about these problems all the time. And sometimes it just helps to put everything out on paper and just say, all right, this is what's going on. This is a problem that I'm trying to overcome. Here is my current thought process. And then next week kind of follow up and say, oh, yeah, I figured it out. This is what I did. So a lot of time, that's kind of what I focus on. And then in other aspects, it's been whatever just catches my attention during that week. So I might be working on a project that I find interesting, and I just want to share with people, hey, this is a cool little thing that I'm putting out to the world. Check it out. So I've done like my stream for charity, which is what we're watching right now, or what everybody else is watching right now. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I remember, I don't know why I thought it was a good idea, but I decided to spend a week in New York for one of the weeks of the 30-day blog challenge. And I remember being on the subway with one of my friends, and I knew like as soon as we got back to her apartment, I had like 45 minutes to type up an entire post, upload it before we had to go out again. I remember like being on the subway, like going back and forth with her, like, what should I write about? What should I write about? And we were like thinking back through like everything we did that day, like what made me excited, what made me sad, whatever. And like we had gone grocery shopping the night before, and I'm a serial lover of grocery shopping. I really do. I love grocery shopping, and I love grocery stores. So that's just what my blog post was that day. It's like, wherever you can find
great. Oh my goodness.
Just go for it. Just go for it. Ride the energy.
Oh man, that's oh, I love that. That's actually funny. That's really funny. I found that especially like when I'm having to run around a lot, like that, I ended up having to I literally typed down on my cell phone what my blog post was going to be, and then when I got home, I formatted it and put it onto WordPress and said, "All right, publish."
Right, exactly.
I went to bed, and that's what happened every time.
Yeah, there were some tight deadlines. Yeah, I remember everyone kind of at one time or another was just like 2 minutes to spare.
And if I remember right, there were some people in the Praxis community who, when they did the 30-day challenge for this, they made bets with each other. So let's say one person and another person, they both make, all right, if I fail to put this up every day, I have to pay you $50.
Right.
It was stuff like that. It was crazy. It was really cool though.
Yeah, I think what's super helpful actually in Praxis is if you have a good relationship with your fellow participants. Right off the bat, my group was super close, and we'd like have Zoom calls all the time, and it was nice to also be with people my age who were doing a similar path, because it's kind of like it's not easy to kind of do that on your own when most people are like at college studying exactly what they want to be studying and in class every day and in shows all the time, like with people their age in person and having that real life connection. So to be able to also have that real life connection, at least over Zoom, with people who knew exactly what you were doing, you didn't have to like answer any like weird questions of people not really understanding what you were doing or why, or like not really getting any of it. but yeah, we were super competitive, which really helps, especially like when things get trickier, or it also kind of raises the bar of like what projects you're taking on, and
Mm-hmm.
where you actually want to take your projects, because you're seeing what everyone else is doing, and if you can provide like a good challenge and create a really cool project, that usually like sparks other people to like try and one up you, which
Oh
is
yeah, it's really cool, and you gotta be feasible. It also teaches you to really be like practical during the whole process, especially because you had such a tight deadline. You had 1 month to come up with a project, deliver it, and improve upon it
Mhm.
within 1 month. That's all you had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so crazy. And even just in the little things too. I remember at one point there was one challenge going around where I think it was me, and like two other participants
Mm-hmm.
were challenged by like Hannah Frankman to wake up at exactly the time we said we would wake up at. And we were all really struggling with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's like this apparently there's this tactic. If you like wake up and you have like a glass of water on the other side of your room, you go and drink that entire glass of water and you don't go back to bed. The water helps you stay awake. It worked for me for like a week and then I kind of dropped it. But
Oh
yeah, that
man.
was a fun challenge for a second. But
I have a different way of doing that. I have so over here on my left hand side, I have my bed, and then over way on the right in the corner of my room is my alarm clock, and it is the loudest thing ever, and it forces me to get out of bed and stand there to turn it off.
okay, see, like I do the same exact thing, except
Crawl back
I'll
into bed.
with it and then get back into bed. So like I think I have like 5 alarms. And each of them have like a 5 snooze max on all of them. It's not good. So it's a good thing I work from home, because then I can just like wake up 10 minutes before
I
work and
I love working from home because you know what, we if you sleep in, it doesn't matter.
exactly,
Or-
exactly.
yeah, a
No
lot
one
of the time it doesn't
can.
matter.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah.
mm-hmm, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, funny little challenges. Yeah, but I mean, the Praxis community is super fun in that way. Like, you can
Mhm.
always find people who are willing to take on a challenge. Like, even if they didn't know a challenge existed before, you could just like post it in Slack and be
Yeah.
like, "Hey, does anyone want to do this?" And there's usually one or two people who are like, "Oh, yes."
Oh yes, I'll help you out with this. Heck yeah. And then you
Yeah.
also got awesome people who are willing to help out with your own projects. For example, Leah's hanging out with me on the podcast, so there we go.
Oh, yes. Yeah,
Aha.
one of my fellow Praxians, when I was writing, she was actually wonderful. She what did she do? Um, every day I had to send her all of the pages that I wrote for my book that day, and she would write to me if she didn't see my email come through, or she would just like be there to talk back and forth with me and give me feedback, and she just like offered herself for that, even though she like had tons of other praxis projects, but she knew like what I was doing, and um, it was a little bit of a different project from what everyone else was doing. So they were able to collaborate at different times, but she knew I was like off over here, like trying to self-publish. And so she's like, just send me your pages. Like I'll hang out with you in this project that you're working on, which was so wonderful. And I still think about that all the time, because
That's
yeah, I
awesome.
probably wouldn't have had the same motivation had she not pitched
The
in. And
so next month, next year technically, um, I know it's December. Oh
I
man.
never thought 2020 was gonna end, and now.
Oh man. But anyway, so for the past year or so, I've been slowly putting together and writing my own book. I've been writing short stories. I'm putting together 50 short stories based on my Dungeons and Dragons group sessions.
Amazing. This is great. I love this. How long have you been writing it?
So about a year right now because I've been mostly trying to focus on Praxis mostly. But at the start of Praxis, I'm like, all right, one thing I want to do, I want to write and publish a book. That was one thing I wanted to do. And now that I finally got my job with Stupid Raisins, I'm like, all right, we can finally focus in on this more. And so I've been writing short stories just based around like character backgrounds for the most part, because I feel like I just love writing the character backgrounds for D&D. And so I'm like, you know what, I'll just write 50 of these and we'll put this together into a book. And so next month, what I'm planning to do is I am going to I'm going to try and put together like a email subscription type of thing. So anybody on my website who wants to pop in on this and get like every day or every other day a story sent to them that I write within that couple of days. I think that would be a good challenge.
That's amazing. Everyone subscribe. Whoever's watching this now.
Yes.
Subscribe. Get all those short stories. That's amazing. That's so cool. That is awesome.
And one really cool thing about my my business partner, Stupid Raisins, I get to learn. I'm the operations deputy. I get to learn how to sell stuff online. And one of the very specific things that I know how to sell online is books.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
What a good skill to have too.
Oh yeah.
Because also, I mean, yeah, because I think a lot of booksellers are hurting right now, especially like if you're, a small bookstore. And so if you can think of different ways to, learn how to either sell your own book, but also like other books too. Like, I think right now is also a time to be super creative and flexible with everything. So that's awesome. Cool that you're learning to do that. Set yourself up well for success.
Set the bar high. That's what you got to do.
Yeah.
I highly recommend, especially anybody who's listening to us from the Praxis community, if you are just starting out, I highly recommend, if you want to go more towards the operations route, learn about ClickFunnels. It is what I use to build the websites, the landing pages that we use, that Stupid Raisins uses to sell all of their products. And this is such a very wide variety of types of different markets that this could go into, because pretty much it's just a platform that you sell the products on. And you get to learn the really cool strategy of how this works. So for example, with, let's say, my book, I just put out an offer onto Facebook saying, hey, here's my book for free. All you have to do is pay shipping and handling, and then when you go to that page, you can purchase that, and there'll be like a little upsell saying, hey, why not also get the audio book as well? Hey, why not also get the digital copy as well? And it goes from just being a $10 purchase to a $50 purchase, and I only spent maybe $5 in ads.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah. Oh my gosh. That sounds like Amazon. I feel like whenever you look at the book section of Amazon, they're like, well, you could get ebook, or you could get paperback, or you can get Audible, or like there's always so many different add-ons. So that's cool. That's awesome. I had no idea.
Yeah, as a bookseller, I don't really recommend Amazon too much. I mean, yeah, you could put it in there just to say that it's in there, but that's not where the most of your money is going to come from, because Amazon takes a very steep cut, and also they're putting all of your competition right next to your book.
Exactly. That's who I self-published through, because they have actually a pretty cool software that you could use. You just download it and it plugs straight into Word. And it helps you as you write, you plug all of your writing into it, and it just like formats as you go, so that which was really helpful working towards that 30-day deadline, because I was like, I don't really necessarily have the time to think about all these other things. So I was able to just plug everything into that, format it, and get it done in 30 days. But that being said, I knew I wasn't going to make a lot of money off of it, and nor did I, because it was just more about getting the project done.
And it's just trying to learn how to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the cost, I just set it to whatever it costs to make or print the book. So I think I've maybe made 10 cents off of it. I mean, not that.
Hey, at least you made your money back. That's a great thing. That's a great achievement with any business, is to say, yes, I made my money back.
Right.
I didn't lose any money from this. I learned a lot. I didn't lose any money.
Right.
That
exactly.
is a really good experience.
I paid for the paper and pens that I used to plan out my schedule while writing it. And that's success to me, honestly. That's great.
So what was that software you said was called? What was it called?
Yeah, I don't know what it was called, but I remember I'm pretty sure it's pretty readily available because I looked up how to self-publish on Amazon, and
Okay.
they actually make it very simple for you as well. Like streamlined as like if you were a musician trying to put your music on Spotify, it's like it's very similar where they just break it down. There's like frequently asked questions. But yeah, I don't know what it would be like to like actively market the book, because I was like, oh, I could go into a whole like marketing season for this book, but also I was like, I don't know like how good it really like it doesn't have to be like really, it didn't have to be really good for me. I was just wanting to
just kind of learn.
Learn how to do that, and it was a great process to walk through. But yeah, I don't know what the marketing, if you were to try and promote something on Amazon, what that would look like. But their process was so easy. It was so easy. I'm pretty sure it's available online somewhere.
Yeah. So. It's a great way to start off and just learn how to do that kind of stuff. Whereas with what I'm learning, what I'm going to be trying with ClickFunnels, I have to luckily I do this all with my job, so I'm already getting hands-on training with this. I have to figure out how I'm going to market it. I have to build an email list of people that I'm going to send this ads and information to say, hey guys, this is on sale, or I'm doing this right now, and get people's interest in it. And then I just have to build the landing pages so that way people are like, all right, this is cool. And I've got the product. So for a book, it's the book itself, an audio version, audiobook, and then the digital file or the digital version of it as well. That's what I recommend as like the starting point for a book. And then depending on what type of book you're going for. So for example, with my D&D style book, I'm going to take it a step further. I'm going to start putting together like a cool D&D starter kit for your own games and stuff, or like dice with like minifigures in it and stuff like that. Just like cool little extra things that you love D&D. You might also love these cool little items that I sell as well.
Yeah, awesome. That's great. You've got a whole business going. That's amazing.
I do.
That's smart.
I have the business mind, and that is why I love operations so much, because I just learn systems, and that's what I do.
Yeah, so great. That's awesome. And that's really cool that you're also pulling a lot of what you're learning at your business partner into like your own pursuits and your own passions as well. I think that's also that's another amazing thing about Praxis or working with a startup, whatever you're looking at. You learn so much that you can take with you into other fields as well. Like it doesn't just become like, oh, this only applies to sales. Like anything I learn in sales applies to an audition room. Like, like I could work to sell myself in an audition room like I sell Impossible Burger. Like, how do you be the Impossible Burger in an audition room? I don't know. Like, there's so many different things that apply to everything. And this year we had like a massive gap in having management. So me and my fellow coworkers really had to step up, and we became like kind of like co-leaders of our team, which was a very, I don't know how unique situation. Like that's never happened to me before. So it was a unique situation in my life. But it made me much more direct in my work, and made me also way more understanding of like how to communicate your exact needs like for that exact time, and just like stick with it and have that resolved there. So there are so many different things that you can pull in from your business partners that will no doubt help you in other areas of your life.
Yeah. I if you want to start a business, I personally, from my own experience, I highly recommend, depending on what type of business you're getting yourself into, what kind of startup, I highly recommend going towards an operations role, because you know what? Learning how the inside of the business works is probably the most important thing for any business. Yes, you do need to have salespeople to bring in the leads, and then you also have to have the marketing team to bring in the leads to talk to the salespeople, but you need to make sure the system is in place so that people get what they need for their products, or you need to be able to supply your marketing team, you need to be able to supply your sales team. You got to know how the back end of the business works, because for a lot of us every day We just see the front door of the grocery store. We don't see what's going on in the back.
Right. And your business kind of just like crumbles if you don't really have like a streamlined process for everything, because I mean, depending on how many people you have working for your company, everyone's going to do it in their own way otherwise, or they're going to do it in the way that they know how to, instead of you focusing on making sure everyone's on the same page. And then also it like streamlines your process as well. You have way better efficiencies, because you know, there's just like, you know exactly the steps that you're doing, and it allows you to work faster and get better results too. Operations, yeah. Big one.
All right. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you, Leah, for coming on. What is your website if people want to come and check you out?
Yeah, so my website is leahwilczewski.com. My last name is really long.
Yes.
I don't know if anyone wants me to take the time to spell that out, or if there's a way you can.
I will, for those who are watching on YouTube, I'll post a link to her website underneath in the description down below. But yes, that will be there.
Perfect.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
Well, thank you for coming. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate this conversation.
Yeah. All right. You have a great day. I don't want to take up any more of your time.
Thanks so much. Have a good night.
Bye-bye. Hey there. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed the show, be sure to like and subscribe for more. And why not let me know down in the comments what you enjoyed most from the video. Also, a quick announcement before you head off. This year, I'm going to be hosting a Streaming for Charity event over on Twitch starting this December. I'm putting together a scholarship for young professionals who want to jumpstart their career through Praxis instead of going 4 years through college. The goal is to raise $200 this year. It's going to be a fun time this December, as we'll be doing community events, and also I will be interviewing Praxis members live on a new podcast that I have in the works. Hey, be sure to keep an eye on my Twitter and Discord for more announcements on what's coming up. Have an awesome day, and I hope to see you this December as I'm streaming for charity this 2020.